everybody, I'm KC, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About, and welcome to the latest installment of To Infinity War and Beyond. As some of the Avengers move on, it's about time we keep introducing new heroes and franchises, and the first of many to come is someone who is suspiciously missing from the Infinity War trailers, Ant-Man. After failing to get his life together after being released from prison, Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd, pulls yet another job and ends up stealing the Ant-Man suit. The suit's owner, Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, decides to recruit Scott to help recover some of his research before it falls into the wrong hands. Now this is a fun one. After many complications behind the scenes, it's pretty impressive this movie came out as cohesive as it did. And on top of that, thanks to the fact that I was watching Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes in between these movies, this was the first Marvel movie where I was well acquainted with the characters and lore. And it did make for an interesting viewing experience. Like the different obstacles that superheroes face, another thing that I think keeps the Marvel movies engaging in the public eye is how they hop across different genres. Captain America was a traditional war film and then a spy thriller, Guardians of the Galaxy was gritty sci-fi, and now we have a heist movie, which is a really cool genre to base a superhero story in. Ant-Man's powers may be inherently silly, but like a lot of other Marvel movies, they have a lot of fun with the concept while at the same time taking it seriously. There are a lot of movies and TV shows where you see someone get shrunk down and how they have to work with everything being bigger now. Usually it's played for laughs, and while there are laughs in this movie, the idea of being shrunk down is treated as a surreal experience, almost like being transported to another world. It really captures the wonder and mystery that an origin story like this should have. The effects are incredible, and even the ants look convincing and even kind of cute. I hate bugs, and yet this movie's got me cheering for Scott to avenge an ant.
Why are you making us feel these things?
They also get really creative with the concept. From the training exercises to when the heist and fights actually get going, they take full advantage of the potential behind Ant-Man's powers in very fun and ambitious ways. The climax of the movie is a fight on a Thomas the Tank Engine, and it's amazing. As far as the characters go, I can't really sing the praises of the supporting cast. They're fine, but in my opinion, forgettable, especially compared to its fellow Marvel movies. They're here to fill a quota, and that's about all they do for me. But the strong and brilliantly cast starring roles are still present, even though I was nervous about our lead. I'll admit that I know more about Hank than Scott, but I thought the casting choice of Paul Rudd was a bit of an odd one. Someone who was capable of stealing some of the most advanced technology in the Marvel Universe was being played by Brian Fantana?
60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
But those concerns were laid to rest fairly quickly as the movie went on. So what is there about Scott that makes him stand out as a character? I mean, being good with technology is practically commonplace in the MCU, and the Guardians got to the reform criminal thing first. Well, for one, Scott is just kind of an average guy. He doesn't have wealth or status or even that much integrity. The only things he's good at are what helped him commit a major crime, and as time went on, the rest of the world and even he saw himself as nothing but a criminal, which is very true to life. But the biggest thing that's unique to Scott is that he's a dad. The main theme of the movie is the connection of family, and no connection feels as sweet and genuine as Scott and his daughter Cassie's. The whole reason he agrees to be Ant-Man is for his daughter, to become the hero she deserves. And it's very sweet. There's not much superhero material where heroes have children or families, but it's always such an interesting relationship to tackle. It shows both a hero's weakness and their greatest strength, what they should be fighting for, and making it personal. But the only way this was going to work is if the connection felt real, and the superb performances of Paul Rudd and the adorable Abby Ryder-Fortson made it feel very real. But the family angle doesn't end there. Along with Hank Pym, Scott is being assisted by his daughter, Hope Van Dyne, played by Evangeline Lilly, and she can join Peggy Carter and Black Widow as one of the most well-written female characters in the MCU so far. She does resent her father, and on some level has a right to, but she also recognizes when his technology could be used to endanger a lot of lives, and that she needs Hank's help to stop it. I really love how she keeps her priorities straight, but isn't willing to completely forgive her father. She's understandably bitter at the fact that her father chose some random guy to do the job when she is very well equipped to handle it, and I like how clear they make that. She's not just someone who wants to stubbornly handle the job herself. She is intelligent, a great fighter, adept with Ant-Man's tech, and a trusted mole. It also makes the audience wonder why she isn't putting on the Ant-Man suit. They do have a nice way of resolving this, and Hope does get to assist in the break-in, but after all that build-up, I'm kind of disappointed that she didn't get to get her hands dirty, that she never had to actually fight the bad guys. But luckily, the movie ends promising us that she'll get very involved in the fight next time.
It's about damn time.
I can't wait. And there's the original Ant-Man, Hank Pym. Now, I know Hank is a sort of controversial character in the world of comics, and while I definitely get it, there are parts of his mad scientist outlook that sort of intrigues me. From what I know about Hank, and my knowledge is limited, he seems quite a bit different here, but it was definitely for the best because I love this version of Hank. I love that he's an older superhero. As you guys know, I cannot get enough of the history of this world. Of course, it's a joy to see Howard Stark and Peggy Carter again, and getting a glimpse of War of the Roses Michael Douglas. But I like that Hank actually spent a few years as Ant-Man himself. Like the first Captain America movie, it shows that superheroes are ingrained in the history of this world, that they didn't all pop up at once. And now, he's passing the mantle on to Scott. None of the MCU heroes have really had a mentor figure. They either figured out their powers by themselves, or were already experts by the time we met them. But while training to understand your powers is nothing new, especially in Hollywood films, it's new for the MCU, and I think some people miss that. Hank also lives with the consequences of his ambitions as Ant-Man, losing his wife in action, spending decades trying to keep his research from hurting anyone else, and pushing his daughter away because he can't stand to have her get hurt or worse like Janet did. Hank seems to be a character who constantly lives in remorse, and in good mentor-mentee fashion, it's when he takes Scott under his wing that he remembers what good Ant-Man can do and how important being honest with your family is. It's a wonderful full circle to the movie's overarching theme of family. While Scott is trying to earn his place in his daughter's life, he's also helping Hank and Hope mend their long broken relationship, which in turn opens them up to new opportunities. And Michael Douglas is one of the best actors in the history of ever, so it's no wonder that he dominates any scene he's in. Then there's our villain, Darren Cross, played by Corey Stoll. I describe Darren as a traditional comic book villain. He possesses and sort of understands a scientific feat that could affect the entire world and only wants to profit off of it. It's a real tunnel vision attitude, but one very synonymous with supervillains. And the overuse of Pym particles may be driving him mad or something? Even though Hank doesn't seem to have any out of the ordinary mental issues? Well, whatever. Really what makes this guy work as a villain is the lengths he goes to get what he wants. Remember that scene where he shrunk someone down to a drop of goop and then flushed them down the toilet? Because I didn't. That is messed up. And I actually really like the change of making Cross Yellow Jacket. I never liked Hank as Yellow Jacket in the first place, and the concept fits better for a regular villain in my opinion. And the design looks so much cooler than the comic version. Yeah, I don't really like Yellow Jacket's costume either. I just don't like Yellow Jacket. That's why it's great to have him in a role where you're supposed to hate him. If you ask me, this guy is Obadiah done right, because in or out of that fancy suit, he is an insane force to be reckoned with. And before we wrap up, I want to touch on how well this world has been fleshed out, since it's been a while since we've had a new perspective in the MCU. How everyone knows about big events in the previous movies. The fact that Scott's first idea to stop Cross is to call the Avengers is probably the first reaction anyone would have in this world, and I love that. For some reason, these nods have gotten on some people's nerves as of late, and I don't really get why. Isn't an interconnected world what made the Marvel movies so special in the first place? You think if a populated city is suddenly hovering 30,000 feet in the air that no one's gonna talk about it? I mean, yeah, why did they need to get a very specific part that just happened to be at Avengers HQ, which means Scott has to fight Falcon? I don't know. I don't even care. Do you care? I don't care. It's awesome. From blatant nods like that to subtle ones like one who crosses buyers having a 10 rings tattoo, it's attention to cohesion and connecting details that I really enjoy. Overall, I think Ant-Man is better than anyone expected it to be. Not only is Ant-Man already kind of the punching bag of Marvel, but when news was pouring out about writers and directors dropping out and swapping in and out, it wasn't a confidence booster. But despite all of that, this movie came out on top, and even though it may not be the best Marvel movie by any stretch, it maintains the same amount of fun, laughs, creativity, and heart that makes this universe so enduring. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Small but mighty when you're powerful and wise. You can rise above any size. If you belittle being little, then your quest is doomed to fail. But when you're small but mighty, the mighty shall prevail.